most people in this business, they want to tell everybody that's watching this, especially new, you don't need a VA. You don't need money to make money. Like wholesaling real estate is the only industry I can see that people actually say stuff like that. If you go into any other entrepreneurial industry, they'll never tell you not to invest in your business because you have to put up money to make money. That's just business. So one of the things I tell people is if you don't have the money, then come up with a budget where you're going to self-finance your business for the next 12 months. You have to give this business at least 12 months to see immediate results. You're not going to be like such and such down the street who got a deal the first 2 weeks after using DealMachine or cold call or whatever they did. That's at the bottom of the screen in most infomercials say results are not typical. So you got to say, hey, I'm going to get this business 12 months of my undivided time, and then I decide where I go from there.
Antoine, thanks for joining me for our Thought Leader Spotlight series. I'm your host, Matt Camp, head of partnerships for DealMachine. On these, we really like to shine a spotlight on industry experts like yourself to hear your inspiring stories and really educate our audience on the lessons that you've learned and really how you see the world evolving. So today, really excited to welcome on Antoine Campbell. You're a real estate investing expert that you primarily run your real estate investing business through virtual assistants and virtual wholesaling. So excited to dig into that with you. You put out great content. I know you're a speaker. You've got Instagram, YouTube, your courses, all of that stuff going on. And then you also have the Drip Conference is that coming up in February, right?
Yeah, we're going to run it again in February. We're going to start marketing it probably like October, November-ish. There
we go. Perfect. So we got that coming up, and then your husband and father, and I know your family is really your why driving you behind all this. So I'm excited to have you on.
Man, thank you so much, Matt, for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Can you maybe start there, Antoine, and tell us more about like your real estate investing journey? I know I read that bio, but would love to hear kind of how you got into real estate and maybe some pivotal moments on, what formed you into who you are today.
Yeah, so my real estate investing journey started probably, I want to say 2014 when I really took an interest in it. But I was working with my grandfather in the 90s, doing construction with him and demolition houses and pulling concrete and footers and foundations. And that's when I fell in love with real estate. So even when I was in middle school and high school, I always knew that that's something I want to do. So, as I get dressed for school in the morning, I used to just watch like the infomercials come on and the guy running down the beach with a six-pack showing somebody, you can live a life like this. And ever since then, I knew that no matter what life took me, that always come back and try to, do real estate. So that's how I got into real estate.
Love it. And then can you maybe tell us like your first deal and kind of like, that whole experience? Because I know that is something you really help coach and mentor investors around, is getting that first one under your belt.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this about me. I was originally supposed to be a multi-family investor, but then I realized you need a ton of money. So then I ended up starting to do fix and flips. So my first deal was actually a fix and flip on my own. And the fix and flip went well. We took out a $400 hard money loan. And it took us about a year to get it done just because we didn't know everything and we didn't understand that people were so shiesty, and we ran through problematic contractors and overages and things like that. So we got through that deal alive, and it was like the biggest, and I don't recommend nobody else do this, but it was the best mastermind you can spend because you learn so much. And I always tell people, you don't learn until you actually do. You can read, listen to books, watch these YouTube videos, but until you actually do it, that's when the learning starts.
100%. What do you, is there anything specific in terms of taking that first action that you see people struggle with or have hesitation around, or, what makes that first deal so difficult for people usually?
I think the proof of concept, most people, they see everybody else doing it, but they're trying to do the same thing and it's not happening as fast or quickly as they would like. So people get discouraged.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, and I do think, I know you mentioned, masterminds being, influential on you, but I think, being able to have peers there to help you, or have things like this to be able to give you a little more confidence and education goes a long way as well. But I know you were telling me a little bit before this around your current real estate investing business and, how often you're doing deals. Can you talk through kind of your goal with your real estate investing business and the type of activity you're doing right now, and how you structured it to be able to do that?
So currently right now, we have a virtual wholesaler business. We was doing fix and flips, but we kind of put that on pause just because of COVID. It's hard to find good quality people to come work, as well as cost. Things. And then the relations we have with our money lenders, it just we didn't like it, so we put that on pause. But I think we're going to start back the first of the year. But our actually virtual wholesaler business, we probably doing between 2 to 5 deals a month consistently. Now you can lock up 10 deals all you want a month, but to actually get them settled and closed is a whole different story that I think most people don't talk about as often. Because if I lock up 30 deals and half the title works bad, or you got liens and judgments and things, it's hard to get it across the finish line. So yeah, we do about 2 to 5 deals a month, and we really starting to focus on doing more JVs than anything. And that's really been a good plus for us too, because I have such a huge network of people that buy information from me, and they always come back to me asking me to help them buy their sell their deal. So we start to offer that opportunity for our customers.
Nice, love it, man. Did you for anybody who's a newbie, like just getting up to 2 to 5 a month is a great volume, but for newbies just getting up, doing that first deal, starting to put processes in place and things, can you maybe walk through your playbook on how they should be structuring their real estate investing business, and what you've learned over the years to be able to do that in a scalable way?
Yeah, I think you got to identify how committed are you with this business, right? So many people come in this business, but they don't understand that this business takes time. So if you have a full-time job and you get off work at 5, 6 in the evening, you need to be realistic with yourself. That's when the VAs come into play. Maybe you have to pay somebody to do a lot of the day-to-day stuff like cold calling and texting, or virtually driving for dollars and stuff like that, just to keep things moving forward. So by the time you get off work, the most time that you have is actually spending with talking to sellers who are looking for a cash offer, not people that you assume that may want to sell. So I think that's what a lot of investors got to understand and set up there. How much time can I get this business, right? If you can get this business full-time or part-time, great, but hold yourself accountable, make a schedule, and then and create some consistency and some measurements into your business, so you can see, okay, well, for the last 30 days, I've been able to do 3 hours a day, and this is the results I expect from 3 hours a day.
Yeah. Is there, do you think you can make meaningful progress at that level? Like I know you just threw out 3 hours a day, but do you have any like goals on, hey, if you're say you are a newbie, you maybe have a full-time, job, or you're able to dedicate part-time hours to this, like, do you have a kind of a minimum threshold of amount of time you need to focus on a business like this?
I think that's when the app like DealMachine comes in, because you have to be real with yourself. Say, hey, I don't have time to do formal scalable marketing, cold calling, texting. Let me, on my way to work, at least drive for dollars for 30 minutes, or in between my lunch break, go out and just ride around and get something done and come back, and then take these leads, and then during the time I do have, call them and text them, and then you're just doing one-off deals for here and there until you find time to really grow your business. And I think most people don't want to accept that's what they have to do until they find time to actually give this business their dedicated time.
For sure. I appreciate the shout out too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know one thing that you talk about often too on how you can save time and make more efficient processes is by delegating. And I know you've got, your virtual assistant business. Can you talk through about, really how a virtual assistant can change your business, and, what kind of activities they should be doing within your real estate investing business, that type of stuff?
I mean, VAs, they can really impact your business, because it's not like you have to just have them do cold calling. You can have a VA do pretty much anything you want. And what a VA just means, they're not there with you. They're not there in your actual office, your actual home. They're somewhere, whether it's in another country, whether it's here, you can literally outsource anything. So I tell people, write down what you're currently struggling with, things that you know for a fact you'll never get good at. Like for me, I've been sucking at cold calling, or I'm not great at dealing with people on the phones. I'm not gonna say I suck at cold call, because I could do it, but I don't have the temper to deal with people talking to me any type of way on the phones. That's the first thing I'm gonna outsource, especially if I know I can outsource it for $4 or $5 an hour. Why not? Because you gotta look at your highest and best use of your time. What else could I do besides cold calling? Maybe talk to sellers, maybe pull a list, maybe network with other investors who have deals they want to sell. So that's what you got to look at and figure out, what could you do to really maximize your time as a business owner?
Yep. Yeah. Is that how you go about kind of justifying paying for a virtual assistant? Just because I know people listening to this, they may, there'll be some who, and really any business, you want to be very careful about your expenses, but people will want to look for, hey, what's the most cost effective way to do things? Is a virtual assistant really
Right.
worth it? Like, is that how you're justifying that?
Yeah, because like most people in this business, they want to tell everybody that's watching this, especially new, you don't need a VA. You don't need money to make money. Like wholesaling real estate is the only industry I can see that people actually say stuff like that. If you go into any other entrepreneurial industry, they'll never tell you not to invest in your business because you have to put up money to make money. That's just business. So one of the things I tell people is if you don't have the money, then come up with a budget where you're going to self-finance your business for the next 12 months. You have to give this business at least 12 months to see immediate results. You're not going to be like such and such down the street who got a deal the first 2 weeks after using DealMachine or cold call or whatever they did. That's at the bottom of the screen in most infomercials say results are not typical. So you got to say, hey, I'm going to get this business 12 months of my undivided time, and then I decide where I go from there. So I think that's what most people struggle with. They got to give themselves a budget. And let's get back to the budget. If you're currently working a job and you can't make ends meet with having a VA, then consider taking your vehicle and driving for Uber Eats. If you don't have a vehicle, great. You can go to Instacart and pick stuff off the shelves for people and they make money. And then say, this is the money I'm going to use to pay for my business until I get my first deal. And even after you get your first deal, that's still not your money because you have to put it back into your business. And I wish there was someone that told me this 20 years ago, as I'm trying to become an entrepreneur, start my first business selling candy and all that you can't spend all the money. You have to keep putting money back into your business to let it grow. So that's what you got to do. You got to make an investment in yourself. There's no such thing as you don't need money. I mean, you probably can do it with hard work, but that's like once in a blue moon, you're more likely to leave your house, taking out the trash at night and look up and say comment before you get your first deal with no money. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I love your mindset too of like saying, "Hey, give this a year and give it a real shot." Like, because that is one of the most common mistakes we see is people not having the right expectation going in and giving up before they really had a chance to get traction and to be able to get enough marketing out there to really land that first deal. And once you land that first one, that's when you build momentum and it's an exciting business at that point.
Right.
But
and the mindset different, right? And once you get that first check in your hand, you're like, "Oh, this is a real thing." It's something about that first deal that gets you that way to just want to keep working hard, so you get people, and you might see this on the DealMachine side. Somebody get the software and then after 30 days, 60 days, they don't want it no more because this doesn't work. Instead of saying, hey, let me give it consistency for 6 months, 12 months, and I guarantee you it works. Anything that's consistent for a long period of time is going to work. If you don't believe me, look at how water can cut through a boulder or a rock. That took years and years of this water just hitting it before it to work. You know what I mean? So that's just the same concept in life.
For sure. I mean, on the DealMachine side, we see like if you those first 60 days are so important, where if someone can even just say, hey, I'm going to dedicate 60 days to this strategy, really focus on getting out there, 60 to 90, those first couple months, if you really commit yourself to something and are able to get out there and consistently generate leads and start making conversations happen like that, we see that is the kind of the tipping point that we see for success. So we try to set up a lot of things, especially early on when people are starting with us, to be able to set them up for success, because we know, hey, build momentum early and that's going to carry over. So,
right.
Yeah. Love that. Again, thanks for the DealMachine shout outs. I know, once you actually have those leads, like start driving for dollars, start to build that list. I know you've talked about kind of filtering those leads and really identifying what are the leads that have the highest probability of being a motivated seller.
Right.
And those should be the highest priority that you reach out to, like once you filter those leads. So can you maybe talk through your process of how you do that, how you go about scoring your driving for dollars leads and where you go from there?
Yeah. So originally when we was using the DealMachine, we just took the DealMachine list and then we brought it to another platform like a PropStream and used the list automator. And then we went and filtered and compared PropStream data to the raw data we created from the DealMachine and say, give me all the people who own the houses for at least 7 years. That's probably vacant. And we literally came out with maybe 50 to 100 people on the list. But I'm telling you, that was one of our highest converted lists because it was so compressed. We compressed the data so much that we know exactly who we was going to target. And I think a lot of people, they struggle because they're shooting in the dark. but if you know the exact person that may end up selling their house, right? And you know their situations, because I always tell people there's two types of pain points. You have the property and then you have personal. And then the reason why I love DealMachine is because you can't see the property pain points at times, but when you put it through the DealMachine and you look at the data, it says, oh, this vacant, this is that. You can't see that sometimes. You know what I mean? So that's why when you drive for dollars, you can see that, hey, this house over here got a car sitting in the yard and it's on bricks. Okay, let me add this to my DealMachine. Then you go look it up. It has high equity, but it doesn't show anything else. So that's the advantage of driving for dollars. I think that most people don't understand it. I can go put a list over here, yes, but it's not showing me exactly what's going on with the information that
For
I
sure.
have.
Yep. Yeah. And having the power of a list, and then, like you said, driving for dollars and identifying those diamonds in the rough, those properties that can't just get off a list. That's what we're trying to teach people as well. So I know we're on the DealMachine side, always trying to enhance our data, always trying to make it better and better. So that way, when you guys do, pull a list in DealMachine or drive for dollars in DealMachine, that you can really easily identify like who are those highest priority leads that are going to give you the biggest bang from our buck, and have the highest conversion rate. So nice. So once you go through that, I'd love to hear if you have tips on using VAs and how to train them up to really take that step, especially when it comes to like offering on a property and acquiring that property. Right. Can you talk through that process on how to get your VA to that level as well?
Yeah, so everything takes time, but the one thing I tell everybody is to document their business, right? So if you're currently doing everything on your own, take a Saturday or Sunday, go to Starbucks, get you I like a pink drink. I don't know if you know what a pink drink is. It's like lemonade and coconut milk. Get your pink drink, sit at your desk and say, I'm going to record how I do XYZ. Then once you do that, then you have weekly meetings with the VAs and you slowly start to show them exactly what you're doing to relinquish. So example, I teach my VAs acquisitions. Now I have a 5-day training that I put my VAs through, plus my clients. We all come and we learn acquisitions. And there's a formula that we're using. It's a cookie cutter formula. When I worked at McDonald's, how could you get a 15-year-old kid or 16-year-old kid to make a burger the same way a 15, 16-year-old kid in California and Chicago make the same exact burger, even though they're young? You create structured systems and a proven, consistent process, and then it's going to do over and over again. So as we make offers the same way. We use the same formula. Most people may say that's wrong, but my thing is I'm going after consistency, right? So I don't have to be looking over their back. So, when we use the calculators and we plug in the numbers, we know exactly where we need to be conservatively. So I think that you have to have an underwriting standard. I think most of the people out here in the industry, they don't have standards in their business. So they struggle to come up with offers. They struggle to come up with how much they can offer the seller. They struggle to come up with how can they build rapport. Listen to your last 200 calls and look for the most common objection and create a terrific rebuttal that sounds like you're not reading off a script. And then take them rebuttals and don't memorize them, but use it as framework in your head so you can stay on topic when a person has a issue or a question towards you that you feel like you don't know the answer to.
Yep. Yeah. What about on the dispo side? Like if you're going to wholesale the property, if you're going to, once you've acquired it and you're looking to sell it to cash buyers, do you have any tips there on how to train up a VA to be involved in that side of the business too?
Yeah, I think you can train a VA to do that too. One of the things though, if you're going to do dispo side, you might want to just get a VA. That's all they do. It's just build relationships and cold call. Just like how you cold call sellers, you should be cold calling cash buyers and investors and hard money buyers, whatever. And teach them to show them how to be relatable. So if they're cold calling buyers in New York, well, they know for a fact that they go check Google. There's been a flood in Brooklyn. So now's the time to show sympathy. Hey man, hope everything okay with you guys. Did you get washed out? How's your properties? Oh man, feel my properties flooded. Blah blah. People appreciate the little extra conversation, even after you do a deal, right? If you do a deal with a buyer. If you do a deal with a seller, whoever you do a deal with, you have to cool them down. We call it the cool down point, to the point that you have a conversation after the close, just so they can feel okay about doing business with you and they're not having any second thoughts and regret in doing business with you. And that's in anything we do. So I think that if you train a VA to do dispo, have them dedicated to do dispo. Most of the people don't have one VA doing everything. It's never going to work. So dispo, cold calling, acquisitions, it all should be separate.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for really any role in any industry that you're dealing with customers like that, whether it's sales or customer success or anything like that, building rapport. So, yeah, this has been fantastic. Do you have any other kind of, parting advice for the newbie watching this that maybe hasn't done that first deal yet, but could use a little extra confidence to do that?
This is a marathon. I've been working for myself since 2013. It's been days that I cried. It's been days that I look up and said, why are you putting me through this, Lord? It's been days where I celebrate. It's been times where I spent a month on vacation. It's so fulfilling. You have to have a passion to work for yourself, because you're going to have more 60-hour weeks than you're going to have 10, 15-hour weeks. And once you understand that and accept that, then that's when you're an official entrepreneur.
Hey, well, Antoine, this was awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Is there anywhere else that people can follow up with you and make sure they keep in touch with everything you're working on?
Instagram, CEO929. If you have any questions, text my cell phone, 202-335-3322. If you're looking for a VA or whatever, we have everything you need to get you going.
Love it. And we'll link to your site and kind of, all the businesses you've got going on as well here. But again, thank you for coming on. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you.
Perfect. And to everyone watching, this is Matt Camp with DealMachine, and happy deal finding.